The planet Zephyra Prime gleamed like a jewel in the heart of the Andara sector. Its cities shimmered with towers of iridescent metal, floating gardens and artificial waterfalls that defied gravity. The royal palace, perched atop the tallest peak, was a marvel of alien engineering, a labyrinth of corridors, atriums and chambers designed to impress and intimate. Within its gleaming walls lived Princess Selira, daughter of Emperor Thalyon. Unlike her siblings, Selira had always been different. Her body was larger, her movements slower, and her presence was often accompanied by whispered comments and pitying glances from the court. Despite her intelligence, wit and artistic talent, Selira had been made painfully aware that in her society, beauty, agility and slenderness were prized above all. She moved quietly through the palace halls, avoiding the sneers of courtiers and the subtle snickers of palace tutors. "No one will ever love me," she muttered under her breath one evening as she gazed at the crystal reflection of her face. "I'm just too much." Meanwhile, on the edge of Zephyra's capital, a human single father named Ethan Varrick worked as a mechanic and shuttle pilot. Ethan had traveled across sectors repairing ships and systems, his life defined by practicality, patience, and a stubborn sense of justice. He had been hired by the royal palace to maintain the fleet of personal shuttles, an assignment that would change both his life and that of Princess Selira. Their first meeting was unexpected. Selira had been wandering one of the palace's quieter hangars, avoiding courtly duties she found suffocating. She paused near a shuttle that Ethan was repairing, her curiosity piqued by the human's calm efficiency and the way he handled the complex alien technology. "Who are you?" she asked timidly, her voice soft, almost a whisper. Ethan looked up, wiping grease from his hands. "I'm Ethan. I maintain the palace shuttles." "And you are?" "Selira," she replied, bowing slightly. She had learned early in life to mask insecurity with courtesy. "Princess Selira." Ethan nodded, offering a friendly smile. "Well, Princess, that's quite a shuttle. But it looks like it could use a little human touch." Selira watched fascinated as Ethan worked. There was a confidence in his movements, a patient focus that she had rarely seen in anyone. For the first time, she didn't feel judged or mocked. She felt safe. Over the following weeks, Selira found reasons to visit the hangar. She observed Ethan repairing engines, recalibrating navigation arrays, and troubleshooting energy cores. Slowly, she began to help in small ways, handing tools, adjusting panels, learning the mechanics of interstellar travel. Ethan, in turn, noticed her curiosity and intelligence. "You're good at this," he said one afternoon, observing her tighten a complex circuit with precision. "Most people your age, and royal or not, wouldn't even try." Selira blushed. I like learning. But no one expects me to do anything but look pretty and sit quietly." Ethan shook his head. "Who cares what they expect? You're capable. You just need someone to see it." Their relationship grew. Selira, often lonely and ignored, found herself laughing for the first time in years. Ethan's easygoing manner, his belief in her abilities, and his lack of judgment provided a freedom she had never known. For the first time, she felt valued not for appearances, but for her mind, her curiosity, and her effort. Yet life in the palace was not without its challenges. The emperor and court still viewed Selira's presence in public as a source of amusement. They often arranged social events, diplomatic visits, and ceremonial appearances meant to highlight her failings in contrast to her slender, graceful siblings. Selira's heart would sink at each gathering, the whispers of courtiers stinging more than any harsh words. Ethan, however, refused to let her self-worth be defined by their cruelty. "Ignore them," he said one evening after a particularly humiliating banquet. "They don't matter. You're learning, growing, and discovering things they'll never understand. That's what counts." Selira's eyes glistened. "But what about love? Will anyone ever love me the way I am?" Ethan smiled gently. "You've got to start by loving yourself. And then you'll see. The right people will come along." Their bond deepened when a crisis struck the palace. A diplomatic convoy from a neighboring sector experienced a catastrophic engine failure while approaching Zephyra. The fleet's emergency systems were insufficient to handle the damage, and if it failed, the freighters could collide with the palace's docking bay, causing massive destruction. Selira insisted on helping, despite palace staff's protests. She had observed Ethan long enough to understand the basics of shuttle repair, and she was determined to contribute. Ethan guided her through the necessary steps, carefully explaining procedures and allowing her to perform tasks under supervision. With her determination, precision, and newfound confidence, Selira helped stabilize the freighters. Energy flows were rerouted, structural damage mitigated, and the convoy docked safely. The palace staff and visiting diplomats were stunned. An obese, often dismissed princess had contributed to saving a fleet, proving her value beyond appearance or expectation. News of her success reached the emperor. He arrived personally, expecting chaos or incompetence, only to witness his daughter standing tall, confident and capable, her actions decisive and competent. For the first time he truly saw her, not as a joke or failure, but as a talented, resourceful individual. "Selira, you've managed this?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Selira met his gaze steadily. "Yes, father. I did what needed to be done. I learned from someone who believed in me." The emperor, long accustomed to appearances, could not hide his astonishment. He realized his daughter's worth had been invisible to him, not because it wasn't there, but because he had never truly looked. In the days that followed, Selira's confidence soared. She continued learning mechanics, contributing to palace operations, and even mentoring younger staff. Ethan remained by her side, guiding without overshadowing, encouraging without judging. The two became a symbol of unlikely partnership, a human mechanic and a princess who refused to let society define her limits. Selira's transformation extended beyond skill and confidence. It reshaped relationships within the palace. Court members who had once mocked her began to respect her insight, intelligence, and determination. Diplomats sought her perspective, engineers requested her input, and even her siblings grew to admire her resilience and ingenuity. One evening under the twin moons of Zephyra, Selira and Ethan stood on the palace balcony, watching shuttles glide through the sky. "I never thought anyone could see me," she said softly. "Not really. But you did." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "I didn't see you as someone to pity or ignore. I saw you. That's all it takes sometimes, just to be seen." Tears welled in Selira's eyes, but they were tears of joy, of liberation, and of newfound self-worth. "And now, I feel loved, not just by you but by life itself." Ethan smiled. "You've earned that, Selira. You've always deserved it." As the years passed, Selira flourished. She became a respected leader, an innovator in palace operations, and a beloved figure among the people of Zephyra Prime. Her partnership with Ethan remained strong, a testament to the transformative power of belief, patience, and unwavering support. The emperor, once blind to his daughter's potential, now celebrated her achievements. He often reflected on the lesson she had taught him, that true value lies not in appearances or societal expectations, but in courage, determination, and the ability to see beyond the surface. Selira, the obese alien princess who had once believed herself unloved and unworthy, had discovered a world where she was seen, appreciated, and celebrated. She had learned that self-worth comes from action, growth, and the recognition of those who truly understand. And in Ethan she had found not just a mentor, but a friend who believed in her when no one else would. In the grand halls of the palace under the glow of Zephyra's twin moons, the story of Selira spread throughout the galaxy. A tale of perseverance, courage, and the unexpected human who taught a princess to see herself not as the world perceived her, but as she truly was: extraordinary, capable, and loved. And in the quiet moments, when the palace was still and the moons reflected in the crystal towers, Selira would smile, knowing that even the most underestimated individual could change their destiny, and that love in its truest form often arrives when it is least expected.